Hello everyone, I'm Heather. I'm back for what I hope will be a quick reading vlog. Oh my god, a single magpie just flew straight within my line of vision and then walked up the roof for ages. Oh my god, isn't that really unlucky? I think that's really unlucky. Isn't it like 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy? So anyway, I'm working on my owls through this Easter weekend. So yesterday was Good Friday, today is Easter Saturday, and I don't have to go back to work, basically get on my computer again until Tuesday. So I'm hoping to finish off all of my owls books before then, because on Thursday is when like the quarantine edition of Reading Rush starts, and I want to give that my full attention. So today will be about staying sane and also reading Helen Wecker's The Golem and the Ginny. Can you see it? It's like, this is a library book. But I got it intentionally just to have it, like for a normal amount of time. But because all the libraries are shut, this has magically become mine for the next, I don't know how long, months probably. They sort of automatically renew. Like the library sent out loads of tweets. They're like, please don't try to give us our books back. Like you can hold on to that shit for like a while. We'll let you know when it's time to give them back. Anyway, so I've inherited this one, so why not give it a go? It's quite thick. I think that's why I was sort of hesitant beforehand. But for owls, we have to do, or I specifically have to do, a transfiguration qualification, and that is because I want to be a magical librarian. So it's very important that I get a very good grade in my transfiguration owls. And for that, we have to read a book to do with shape-shifting. So to be honest, I don't really know fully if this is to do with shape-shifting. Like the idea is that it's a golem and a ginny, obviously. So a golem is like a bit of clay that turns into a person, isn't it? And then a genie is like a bit of, I don't know, he like goes really small and turns into other things and goes in lamps and things like that, right? So that's sort of shapeshift. Like I'm hoping that this will qualify as a thing. So the last one that I did for my reading vlog before, it was supposed to be a book to do with witches, and it turns out that it wasn't really a book to do with witches. Like there was actually one witch in the end, but the main story was about magical objects, which are not witches. So sort of messed that one up, but hopefully I'll be better with this one. Anyway, I have the library book of this book, but I also have the audiobook. Because I do love an audiobook. I have sort of accidentally made April the month of audiobooks because it's just a really good distraction, something to focus on while I'm doing other stuff instead of my own thoughts, which can be frightening. So I think like loads of people are like, oh, you shouldn't do both. You shouldn't do audiobook and physical book. Doesn't work. I'm like, it does work. Let me tell you, it's amazing. As long as you listen like to a chapter and then stop and then note that chapter and then start up with the next blah blah. Like as long as you don't sort of stop mid-chapter, it works fine. So I'll be doing that today and probably also tomorrow, and guessing by the sort of damn thickness of it, maybe also Monday. Right, so it's a gorgeous day outside again. Last night my kid and I had a camp out in the backyard, which was all of my favorite things about childhood all over again. But we've taken the tent down because we have like a, really small cemented square yard, more like a prison yard than a backyard, and there's not space for anything else other than the tent, so we had to take it down. But it's gorgeous outside, so we're gonna put a blanket down, have a sit down. Also, it's 10:45, so that means there's only 15 minutes left before it's definitely acceptable to drink beer. I might pour the shandy now, and then, give it a bit of time, so that I'm not drinking before 11sies, because that is a, slippery slope, my friends. It's a bit of a slippery slope. So, that's what's gonna happen for today. I'm excited. Hanky, you're in the way.
Hanky's not having my pillow back.
Oh, Hanky, you're in the way, buddy. You can move. Move, Hank. Okay, I'm in the bathroom. I used to come here quite a lot to film when it was cold outside, because this is the warm
instructions. And the guy was like, I want it to be beautiful, obviously, but I want her to be really smart and really curious as well. So then the guy puts her in a box, and they get on the ship, and the guy gets a bit lonely on the ship, and he's like, ooh, I'm gonna open her up, like right now, and just start her life now, early. So he opens her up, and they start talking, you know, like, hello, and then he dies from like an appendix infection, or his upper appendix or something. So then she gets to New York and jumps off the ship because she can now hear everyone's thoughts. So I think she was like supposed to be deeply in tune with her owner. But then when he died, that like bond broke completely, and now she's just like awash. Like she can empathize and like hear the thoughts of literally everyone in New York, and it's making her go crazy. And then there's this other guy in New York who's originally from Syria, and he's like a smithy, and he's a Maronite Catholic from Syria. And I was like, what? And I googled that, and that was super interesting, like the history of Maronite Catholics or whatever in Syria. Anyway, he found this like flask, you know, this metal flask or whatever, with like a sort of inscription on it, like words or something like that, and it needed repairing or something. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna have to take the inscription off in order to sort of do these repairs or whatever. So he like goes to do it, and he sort of like takes part of the inscription off, and then like thing goes all like wonky, and then a genie shoots out, and he's like in a human form, and he's got like metal cuffs on or whatever. And then you find out about the genie, about how he was trapped in his human form in this bottle by a wizard in like the 6th century or something. And then he was somehow taken from there to America, and his like normal form isn't human. It's like a wisp of air or whatever. And he doesn't know why he was trapped by a wizard, and he is just now coming to terms with the fact that 1,000 years has gone by since he's seen outside the bottle. And he's a bit of a dick, you know, because he's not human. He doesn't know how like human social things go. So the smithy's like, okay, like we'll work something out. You can stay in my shop, you know, like I'll get you stuff. And Genie's like, no, this is shit. It's too small. Like it's not working. Whatever. And the golem, she was like wandering the streets of New York, just like going a bit crazy, like, oh, like, why can everyone hear me? Or why can I hear everyone? And she sees this old rabbi, and he sort of like looks at her, and she can hear his thoughts, and he's thinking, is that what I think it is? Like, surely it can't be a golem, you know? So she's like, oh shit, she runs away. She sort of like hears the thoughts of this boy who's just so hungry. It's like overwhelming her that he's so hungry. So she like takes some food from a stand and sort of gives it to him, and then everyone goes crazy. It's a bit like Aladdin, isn't it? And like cartoon version of Aladdin, where like the princess woman who has no idea what's going on, Jasmine, she gives food to like the little kid or whatever, and then people are like, no, you have to pay for that. Like you can't just steal. Oh, you're a thief, you know. Blah blah. Anyway, this is all going down. Like this crowd is like, get the police, you know. Oh, she has to pay. She has to be punished. And then the rabbi shows up, and he just pays for it, and then he takes her home, and he's like, you're a golem, right? You know. And that's basically where we are. Like he's gonna be nice to her now and like take care of her or whatever. It's pretty interesting actually. I'm quite liking it. So, but I'm only on chapter 3. I think it's like page 60 or something like that, of just like a ridiculously big book. So progress is slow.
No, he's not Pavarotti. Alright, you like to have a sing. So does anyone?
Okay, it's the night before Easter. It's Easter Saturday, and I gotta get Anman's Easter Bunny stuff out of the cupboard where it's been sitting for like weeks, and put it out so it looks like the Easter Bunny did it last night. So I'm now in chapter 10 of my book, which is like, you know, pretty good for a day's work, I reckon. And we're finding out more about the lives of the people involved, you know, so you find out about a little more about the genie's life. He had like a magical palace or whatever, so there's sort of like there's like a bunch of different side stories, you know, like each chapter sort of jumps to a different side story, like a sort of history of one of the characters, whatever. And we've got sort of like a magical palace situation going on in the desert with this like Bedouin girl or whatever who's like seeing this palace and no one else thinks it's there. And the person, like the shaman or like the wizard who made the golem in the beginning, you get his backstory as well about how he's sort of evil, you know, like the old man, like the rabbi who took the golem in, like as sort of being nice to her, taking her in. He was really disapproving of the shaman having made her because he was like, it's really irresponsible to make this person. But it turns out he's evil anyway. Also, the characters are getting on with their New York lives. So, the golem has found something to do. She's now like a baker, but she's weirdly good at being a baker. She's like, doesn't tire at all. She just like makes them and she makes them perfect every time. So people are like, what's up with her? And the genie is like fallen in love with this really rich girl in like a really big house in a really rich part of the city. She's engaged to be married, but they have sex anyway, as you do. And yeah, it's getting really good. So I reckon this book's okay so far. You know, I'm hoping that we'll get a bit more exciting as it goes along, but at the minute, it's nice. Okay, happy Easter! What else do you have in here?
Huh?
Woo.
Mom, look.
Whoa, it's got a toy inside.
Mm.
What do you reckon it is?
A doll.
Okay.
Mom, do you want some?
Nah.
Oh.
Happy Easter, everyone! Okay, so we've been having a chill. I've been reading a bit. I'm like halfway-ish, roughly, almost, sort of, in my book. And it's getting pretty good. So the kind rabbi, the one that took in the golem, he has died. Wah, wah, wah. And that's really fucked up some stuff for the golem. He knew that he was going to die, and he was really worried that she wouldn't have anyone after he was gone to take care of her and sort of show her through the world. So he sort of spent ages trying to come up with like a command or something for the golem so that she could have like a new master and be like tied to a new person while he was gone. But he never quite got around to it. He died before he could sort that out. And he had been sort of holding on to some things that he'd found in her pockets when he first found her, which was stuff that was given to her from the guy who had owned her originally, and it was like a list of commands for the golem. So that's a bit grim and foreboding. But anyway, she found it near him. She found it near the kind rabbi guy when she found his body. Like, she walked in for food or whatever, and she was like, he's dead, and she freaked out. But she like took the paper from near him, and she's got a locket now, and she keeps it in the locket. So I don't know what's going to happen with these commands for the golem later on. But she got a bit, you know, wild and distraught about the rabbi dying, so she just went running and wandering the city, and she got a bit lost. She ended up in sort of a part of town she'd never been in before. At the same time, the genie was wandering the city as well, and they sort of bumped into each other and saw each other for what they were. So she looked at him and saw a ball of fire, which is what he is, like a wisp of fire or whatever, instead of a person. And he looked at her and saw a lump of clay, which is what she is instead of a person. And they were sort of staring at each other like, what is going on? And they said to each other what they are. He's like, I'm a genie, I live at Washington Place or whatever. And she's like, I'm a golem, and she ran away, and he sort of followed her, and now he knows where she lives. So they both sort of found that it was like really soothing to their inner souls to tell someone what they were when they've had to sort of keep it so secret for so long. So I imagine that relationship will now blossom. We'll see.
Minty spar, naty war, buffing glida pendrel beads, Australia, Abbey hunt, no, oifnos lawer amont. Hey nanny windam, will I, will I, hey nanny windam, will I, honor have. It's a long one, Mom. There's long. Mom, can I get it?
Okay, I finished it. I finished The Column and the Genie by Aline Wecker, and I think I'm still processing whether I liked it or not. I think I'm gonna have to think about it a while. Like, it was quite a lot going on, you know, it's quite thick, it's quite long. Lots of different characters interweave, you know, and are related to each other. A lot of sort of like crazy stuff happens. It's got a lot of really good, like, sort of Middle Eastern, like legend base, you know what I mean? I've googled loads of stuff. Basically, I think I need just more time to think on this before I report back. I'll give a report tomorrow, I reckon. Okay, so I've been contemplating The Golem and the Genie, and I think I've decided that it was a nice romp. You know, it was a good story, but it wasn't my favorite. Like, it was a bit long and sort of slow in places, and I think probably the Golem for me didn't really work out. Like, as a character, she was like too confusing, and like sort of the idea of this, you know, monster, this like heartless, unthinking, you know, unseeing, you know, super strong monster being versus, you know, it's like really sensitive, you know, really heartfelt, caring, empathetic woman. It like it didn't really work. And the ending I thought was pretty good. I liked that it ended sort of happy, you know, quite happy and everything. But I feel like it did just sort of end. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's sort of building up to something and then it sort of just ended. Maybe a bit flat. But anyway, I'd say, you know, solid, you know, 3 stars. I quite liked it. Knowing what I know now, I'll probably read it again. But not my favorite. Like, I really like these Middle Eastern legend type books. They're sort of based in things like, you know, Thousand One Nights and everything. I really like this one called Aleph the Unseen by O.W.L.s. And it's sort of got similar elements. But anyway, so I've completed that one, which was my Transfiguration qualification, and now I have to move on to Ancient Runes, which is a book with either a heart on the cover or a heart in the title. And I'm struggling, guys. I just cannot for my life decide on a book to read for today that is to do with that prompt. There's a couple that I want to read that fit it, like Parkland by the guy who wrote Columbine. He wrote this book about, first of all, the Columbine school shooting in like 1999 or something like that, and then he wrote another one again, sort of looking at the differences and everything between that one and the Parkland school shooting, and how that one didn't end in like a sort of thoughts and prayers horribleness. It ended in like a movement for change and everything. And I think it's more a book about the movement. So I'm really interested in reading that, and it does have a heart on the cover. But it's maybe a bit heavy for today, like I just want to have a chill. There's also one, America is Not the Heart, about, I think, Filipino immigrants to America, which I think will be really good, but also, again, really heavy. And there's another one, Heartburn, by Nora Ephron, and someone already said they didn't really like it. They didn't rate it, they DNF'd it, and I sort of feel like it is a book that I would DNF if I did things like that. Like, I want it to be a really good balance, you know? I don't want it to be too heavy, but I don't want it to be just, you know, like rubbish. Just like a flippant stupidness. Ugh. I'm struggling. I need to find something quickly. It's almost lunchtime. I've already wasted most of this day just like trying to figure out a book to read for today. Ugh, the struggles. Okay, y'all. I've made an executive decision here. I have been agonizing for a very long time today over what book I'm gonna read today or listen to or whatever that has heart on the cover or heart in the title, and I am struggling. Struggle Beth. Okay. So I feel like what I'm going to do is maybe cheating, maybe not. You know, you can have your own feelings. But I'm very desperate at this point, and I feel like I need to just go with it. So, hear me out, hear me out. The book that I'm going to read is Welsh Quilts by Jen Jones. And while this particular book does not have hearts on the cover, it has several hearts in the book, okay, because it's about quilts, and there are heart quilts. But also, I think I have found an older edition of the book that does have hearts on it, okay? Because it's like a small print book, you know, it doesn't have loads and loads of prints of it, you know, it's just sort of small publisher type thing. I cannot for certain tell if what I have found is an older version of the book or if it's just the logo for the sort of quilt exhibit in Lampeter in like the museum or the quilt center or whatever. So I think it's probably an older version of the book because it looks like a book cover, okay? If you know for certain that it's not actually an older version of the book and it's just the logo for the exhibit, please don't tell me. Well, you can do secretly, so no one knows. But I'm very desperate here and I need this to just work out for me today because I need this book to happen today. But also I need to complete my Owls. It's my very last one, the very last book that I need to read to sort out all of my Owls. I feel like a lot is writing on this, particularly because in isolation there's literally nothing else to care about, so I'm finding it very important. So that's what I'm gonna do, and hopefully it meets your approval. Okay, y'all. I've been waiting 2 weeks for this. It's time to find out if Roger survived his hanging. Like, I mean, I've read the books and everything already, so I know the answer, but, like, they've sort of, like, done the show a bit differently in some places, so I don't know if they're gonna decide to kill him off. So much stress. Oh my god, this book is brilliant. Like, I understand that it's a bit niche and that not everyone would find this sort of thing fascinating, but I am loving it. Like, just the weird history of Welsh quilts. Like, I always sort of thought, like, okay, so I'm American, so I always have, like, in my mind, quilts being made, like, by pioneers, you know, like, Rocky Mountain foothills and stuff, women sort of outside in quilter circles, sort of sewing together and, like, chatting and stuff. But for Welsh quilts, it wasn't really like that. It was like a profession. So you'd have someone who like needed, like a woman or whatever, like a widow or a young daughter without any real other prospects who needed a profession. She'd work from home by being a quilter, and people would sort of commission her to do quilts for them because they needed bedding for their house, or like they had a baby on the way, or they were getting married or whatever. And like sometimes really rural farms would have like a traveling quilter through. So like a quilter and like her apprentice or whatever would just sort of come through to farms and set up shop for like 2 weeks or so in their house and sort of make them quilts and stuff, which is crazy. Like also back home, sort of in Amish communities, like everyone knows how well known and sort of expensive Amish quilts are. And sort of looking at it, yeah, they do look quite like these sort of Welsh style ones. And apparently that's just a well-known thing, that quite a lot of the elements of Amish quilts came from Welsh quilts and sort of came to be by sort of loads of Welsh people coming through America at the time that these sort of Amish quilts were getting sort of their characteristic patterns and stuff. So that's nuts as well. All of these famous quilters are spinsters or widows and have the same surname as me. Like, they're not related to each other. They just all have the same Welsh surname, which is the same as mine. My favorite ones are definitely the red and white ones. I'm like characteristic like Welsh quilts. It's less about like the patchworking and the colors and stuff, and way more about like the intricate stitching. I don't know if you can see, but I didn't know that, and it's like they're basically gorgeous. Like oh yeah, look at that one. Gorgeous. I wonder how much they cost. I should try to get one. It could be like a family heirloom. I could like pass it down to Amber and stuff. My husband and my kid have gone to the park, and the house is now empty except for me. And I think this whole lockdown isolation situation has just reminded me how severely introverted I am and always have been. Like, I love to go out, and one of the things I've hated most about sort of the lockdown is that I can't do all the things I used to do. I can't go dancing at the club with friends. I can't meet friends for coffee. You know, I can't go get breakfast in the morning at a cafe. You know, I do loads of stuff in the week generally, like pub for lunch with friends and stuff. But in sort of the background of my day, the things that sort of go on that I don't really take note of or take stock of is a million different moments of me being by myself. And I guess it's just sort of how I recharge, you know, so have loads of fun going out drinking and dancing, but that's, you know, exhausting. It takes loads of energy, and then I gain my energy back by sitting in a dark room the next morning by myself, just recharging. And sort of the lockdown and being forced into my house with two other people 24/7 has just highlighted to me how much I need those moments to just be by myself. Okay, anyway, on that note, I have finished Welsh Quilts by Jen Jones, and it was exactly the romp I expected it to be. It was super weird, super niche, but so interesting, fascinating, brilliant. I'm gonna Google loads of the stuff that I found in here, and maybe go about potentially saving up all of my money to acquire one, so that I can just like be a person that has a Welsh quilt and like passes it down to my kid. But anyway, thank you for watching this vlog. I'm sorry it was really boring. Obviously, there's nowhere we can go and nothing we can do. So it's like an isolation vlog, which is, in its essence, super boring. I think probably my next project will be related to the special quarantine edition of Reading Rush. Probably like the tag that Ariel has just put out, and like the TBR and everything like that. I don't know when I'll do that. Sometime before what, it starts on the 16th, is it? I better get my ass in gear and do that. Anyway, if you have any comments at all about the books that I read, or about, you know, various in isolation things that you are doing, let me know. I'd love to have a good convo down the comments. And thanks for watching again. See you. Bye.